the discussion on 98 statistics now. Kasa bin in Namrium. Honorable Katie Hamon Abeka Hwasem. So many people are Hwasem. And then the Independence Day last Sunday, the president also said something about it. That they're going to resist. I think the Daily Guide captured it so well. I'll be very glad. That tell me to me, I'm on the Daily Guide. I'll be very glad. Now, yeah, to me, my capture said the president is sick. All right. Now you share that issue. Thank you. Nii Mpachomedasi, Farmer me. I say we will resist coup makers. And that is at page 3 of Daily Guide this morning. President Akufo-Addo has stated that the government will resist adventurous and restless spirits who are seeking to exploit the current difficulties confronting the nation to shortcut his administration through a military intervention. Tie paragraph ni ye. President Akufo-Addo has stated that the government will resist adventurous and restless spirits who are seeking to exploit the current difficulties confronting the nation to shortcut his administration through a military intervention. According to him, the government would employ all legitimate means in a democracy to maintain Ghana's free, open system of governance, which is respectful of human rights, the rule of law, and the principles of democratic accountability. Delivering a speech at the 65th Independence Anniversary celebration in Cape Coast over the weekend, President Akufo-Addo said, Ghana deserves to put the initial decades of perhaps ununderstandable turbulence and instability in her history firmly behind her to enable the development of our nation to proceed in conditions of freedom, order, peace, and stability, which have been the happy hallmarks of the Fourth Republic. Nii?
Captain, the very first thing is that anybody who is serious about planning a coup d'etat would not come into public and say it. It's the very first thing.
That's right.
Inti obibia why na doing say oba ye coup no omba bonti make say me ko ye coup. It is never done anywhere. It is a very highly secretive thing. Inti that's the very first thing. Again, we are talking about coup d'etats in Ghana, and Captain, when political hypocrisy now does too much. There's a coup d'etat in effect right now in Ghana. It is still in motion. And we are not fighting a coup d'etat. We are protecting a coup d'etat. The coup d'etat, which one are we talking about? We're talking about a coup d'etat that happened on the 24th of February 1966. It's still in effect. Anka Adena, Professor Fiajo would have said, if you remove the indemnity clauses from the Constitution, power will have to go back to the Nkrumah CPP. Why did he have to say that? What does it mean? He says if you remove the indemnity clauses from the Constitution, power will have to go back, power will have to be handed back to Nkrumah CPP. And see, the coup d'etat that happened on the 24th of February 1966 is still in effect. And we are protecting that coup d'etat. And see, about then, sir, you go into the indemnity clauses, the Constitution itself is saying, sir, do not touch any of those players of those coup d'etats. How? Why? Captain, it's very surprising, again, the hypocrisy in this country. I say, Obi and Tumi Nka, or people don't really understand these things. And I've been saying this every time. So we have people who we refer to as legal luminaries, people who are supposed to know better. And if you have in your sacred document, the 1992 Constitution, in your indemnity clause and the transitional provisions, sir, anybody who was a key actor and player in the 24th February 1966 coup d'etat should not be touched. Indeed, it says no court in Ghana has the right or the jurisdiction to hear any case relating to that issue. What joke are we playing here? And so you are saying we still have a coup d'etat in effect. It's still in effect today and it's being protected. And yes, there's a coup d'etat currently in effect. The 24th February 1966 coup d'etat is still in effect. Otherwise, let's remove the indemnity clauses from the Constitution. That says that they are protecting coup d'etat makers. Let's remove that from the Constitution. I mean, this joke is too much. How do you have a document, the 1992 Constitution, which is supposed to be the fundamental law of the country, protecting coup makers, and then we come out and say we are going to fight coup d'etats. I mean, what, Captain?
A concept.
No, I'm saying, Captain, if you're really serious about this, let's start with the primary document, the 92 Constitution. Remove coup d'etats from it. Don't indemnify coup d'etats in the Constitution. Let us make it a crime. And let's deal with every single person who is guilty of a coup d'etat in this country before we can start making those statements. Say, we're going to protect Ghana against coup d'etats. That's what we should do if we're really serious about this. But when we say these are serious international issues, the international community be looking at all of this happening. You can fool some people some of the times, but you cannot fool everyone all the time. It is impossible. And see, that's what I'm saying, Captain. Sometimes it's very disgraceful. And disgraceful to even call yourself Ghanaian, because you sit back and watch what's happening in the political landscape, and then you imagine what people outside will be thinking about us in here. And mind you, people we elect into public offices are supposed to have been the finest brains we have. And see, if these things are going unchecked, nobody's saying anything about these things. What does this say about the rest of us in Ghana? Captain, again, let me put this on the record. Say, coup d'etats do not fix economies. Coup d'etats do not fix people's problems. Coup d'etats do not fix social economic conditions. They do not fix it. In fact, the army does not have any business running government. And this is a fact everyone has to understand. And see, if anyone comes out and is alluding to the fact that we need a coup d'etat, the people are politically ignorant. The army, the military, does not have any business in governance affairs. They do not. And see, if you're a soldier and you think things are not going right, and you want to intervene, drop your uniform, drop your gun, remove your badges, and then become a civilian. Then you can contest through democratic means. And Captain, you see, this even shows the level of political cluelessness in the system this year. Captain, coup d'etat is not the answer at all. And I've said this on your show. Time I fix the country best starting. I made a comment right here. Now, you see, sir, I will see it. I said, left to me alone, we would have had a people's revolution. And what do I mean by that? If we could organize 3.5 million Ghanaians today, we could remove any government whatsoever by Monday morning. I said this on your show.
Sure.
And this is a democratic principle. We call it the vote of no confidence. Why do we have so-called legal luminaries in this country who can give lectures and cannot even give these alternative solutions? But then the first thing they run to is coup d'etats. I mean, these are supposed to be people who know the stuff. But when they're going to talk about options, they can't even mention some of these things. They go straight to coup d'etat. Again, the army and the military do not have any business in governance systems. They should not even think about that as being a solution. There are more innovative ways you can use to deal with any government. Captain, I'm telling you this. If Ghanaians can do this for the first time and set that precedence, and then the if Ghanaians can set that precedent, say we can organize ourselves and use that democratic instrument, which is the vote of no confidence, and remove any government at all which we do not like, it will set a precedent. Say any government that comes into power, say we be 2 days spoon now di you. And this is the people speaking, the power of the people at work. And here a group of, and let me explain coup d'etats in details here. Coup d'etats are never popular activities. They are never. And women will say a small clique of soldiers who have the arms would usurp power or take over or overthrow a government. Now, on 1 year, fast, I could organize people to come and demonstrate and then say yes, this is what we want. Or even indeed, some people might even come on the streets and jubilate and say, yes, we like these things, we like it. But and yes, sir, the people in their ignorance think, once the government has been removed, all their problems will be solved. That's what they think.
That's not true.
But that's the misconception that the people go out onto the street and jubilate. But when we say within a year or two, they realize that nothing has changed. And even the government that has come under the coup d'etat is even worse off than the one they uprooted. And you can see the history of coup d'etats globally. That's what happens. And the coup d'etats are not planned by the people. No, it is a small clique of people who do this. And those are usually the elite who rule. But only they find themselves in the army. And see, again, Captain, coup d'etats do not fix the social economic conditions of any country or the people. It is never an alternative to fixing the conditions in the country. If we really want to fix Ghana, I'm saying that people must understand what their power is and use the people's power. And I'm saying the vote of no confidence is the most powerful element we have. You don't have to wait for the next 4 years to go and vote. You don't need that. If we organize ourselves today and we have the numbers, I'm saying we need at least 4 million Ghanaian people. We can remove any administration at all we do not want because, of course, power resides with the people. The people decide and give you the mandate, say, we want you to be the government. And the same people can come out and say, we do not want you because you're not serving in our best interest. Until Kotana baby. And it's a very democratic, it is the highest expression of democracy. And see, again, to our people out there, I like the call the president is making. But again, if we are going to be really serious about protecting the peace and the democracy that we claim to be practicing, then we should first remove the indemnity clauses from the Constitution, the transitional provisions, which has indemnified all coup plotters and all coup players. Let's remove that. And Captain, from there, we can make coup d'etats illegal, properly illegal. That if anybody tries to usurp the power of the people illegally, we will deal with them by these specified rules. When we do this, then yes, everyone will see, say, we are serious about dealing with these issues. But we should stop the political charade, the hypocrisy. So we come out and then pay lip service to democracy when we don't even practice the democracy. And since we claim to be independent, Nii Aryee, 65 years of independence, let me state this. My senior colleague here says he likes Nkrumah's dream, and that's 65, celebrating 65 years of independence is good. We are not independent, my sister, my brother. We are not independent. Ghana, in her independence or in her history, has only been independent for about 6 or 9 years, from 1957 to 1966. That's when, in fact, it was even from 1960 to 1966. And riddle me that. 1960 was when Ghana became a republic, and we had no monarch, so the head of state was no longer the Queen of England. It was us ruling ourselves from 1960 to 1966 when we were removed, when Nkrumah was removed from power. The republic was overthrown. So in reality, Ghana's independence had only been for 6 years. The rest of it has been a charade. And that is why Professor Fiajo in his report would have said, the moment we remove the indemnity clauses, we would have to return power back to the first republic, which was Nkrumah's government. So it means every player after 66 till today has been a criminal government. And we should face the facts. This is the legal fact. Anyone who is sincere with the truth would admit to. That anybody who has come after 1966, 24th February, every government has been illegal. And I'm not the one saying this. You can go back to the Constitution Review Committee led by Professor Fiajo. You can look at their reports and what it says.
All right.
Captain, thank you.